What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about Bandai Namco basically saying that they're going to be making more Little Nightmares games. So this has been an entire saga. We've talked about Little Nightmares 3, we've talked about DLC, we've talked about different theories, all this good stuff. And then we had the kind of like I guess a very big letdown a few days ago, obviously, where we know that Tarsier Studios is not going to be making Little Nightmares games anymore. And obviously, again, that comes because Embracer Group bought them, and they bought them back in December 2019. We've talked about it, right? We talked about how it makes sense. Like, I understand why, they're not going to be making future games. If you're making games, if you're a publisher and you buy a developer and they're making games and all the money goes to a different publisher and you have to pay for their development and all that stuff, well, obviously that's a terrible, situation. You want to get yourself out of that. So that was a big letdown, especially as we've all been talking, I think, pretty heavily on the future, whether it be DLC, will we play a 6, will mono ever be free, like all this stuff. It's been a whole lot of fun. Well, the update to that, which again was that, Tarsier Studios is done, is that Bandai Namco, don't worry, they're going to pick up the slack. So asked for comment on what its plans are for the series, Bandai Namco said that it would continue making, or it could continue making, Little Nightmares games without Tarsier's input. And their quote is, "We have nothing to announce at this moment," wrote a spokesperson, "but since we received so much love from fans all around the world with the release of Little Nightmares 2, we feel energized to deliver more content in the future." So at this point, it is, I would say, 100% confirmed. The makers of Little Nightmares, the DLC, Little Nightmares 2, they're done. They will not be making any more. That sucks. That's just a big thing to happen. And it's something that, obviously, again, has been in the background, has been known for quite some time. And that's another thing, too. Embracer Group bought them, again, back in December of 2019, so over a year ago. And I would say, probably for the majority of that full year that they've done that, everybody involved has probably known what's going on. Embracer probably told them, Tarsier, and Tarsier knew, okay, this is it. You make Little Nightmares 2, it goes to Bandai Namco, and you're done. You're going to make games for us now. Which, sounds pretty controlling and sounds kind of negative. But again, if you're a publisher and you buy somebody, which is normal, you do it, I mean, it happens all the time, and then they're making games for somebody else and you make no money from them, well, why'd you buy them in the first place, right? So, I mean, I guess you could argue that they shouldn't have bought them, just leave them alone in the first place, right? You could argue that. But they knew that, the publisher, the developer knew it, but I would say, let's throw in that third party, Bandai Namco knew. So if you're Bandai Namco, you didn't own Tarsier, but you had them working for you, and they were bought. And they were bought, again, like over a year ago. So if you're Bandai Namco, all right, there's no way they're going to be allowed to work on, like, we can't rely on them past this game to create Little Nightmares content from us because their new publisher won't let it. Now, we have the IP, we have the rights, we can do whatever we want with it, okay? And I actually, in the video that I put up talking about, that first part of it, this was before Bandai Namco said anything. I did predict stuff like this. I predicted, like, hey, well, maybe Bandai Namco could sell it, maybe Embracer Group can buy it, maybe Bandai Namco could give it to somebody else. These are all things that I had predicted could possibly happen, and here we are. So what happens now, I think, honestly, is pretty simple. I think Bandai Namco just gives it to another developer. It could be one that they own. It could be one that, it could just be like, find a random indie dev. Now, again, and I saw, certain comments on the video, of the first part of this. It's not a slam dunk. This is a positive thing that at least we know, like, they do want to actively give us Little Nightmares games, okay? We're going to get more in the future. But it's not a slam dunk that they're going to be good. You know what I mean? They could give it to a studio that just can't handle it, does creative freedoms with it, and, like, ruins it, right? There's a lot of, no, those are all negative things. There are a lot of negative things that could happen. There are positive things as well, right? But it's more of a uncertainty. Some people may like Little Nightmares 1 more than 2, but no matter what, throughout all of these games, at least we've known, like, the makers of it have stuck with it. Like, these are the same people that have given us all of it. If they made Little Nightmares 3, whether we hate it or love it, let's just say, at least we know it came from them. You know what I mean? And there's I guess, like, a certain level of trust where it's like, okay, well, it's yours. Like, this game better than anybody. And even right now, with this whole story, developing, that is still the case, right? Whoever Bandai Namco gives it to next, they will not know the game as well as Tarsier, okay? So that is an issue, but it's still like, okay, well, at this point, It's either we kill the game franchise is done, and there's nothing we can do because they aren't going to make it anymore. Bandai Namco's like, all right, well, we can't give it to anybody else. We need them, and they're gone, so I guess we're just going to retire the franchise. Unless you want that, which I don't, because especially how you leave off Little Nightmares 2, and you're really developing, I would say, you're developing a franchise. You're developing a world here. You don't want it. I don't think you stop it at 2. I don't think you stop it at 2 and then 1 DLC for 1, right? I don't think you do that. I think you want to keep going. It does bring uncertainty. It brings uncertainty that, again, like there's no 100% confidence that the game is going to nail it the next game. Now, I guess there never was. You could argue that even if it was Tarsier Group, Little Nightmares 3 isn't a 100%, confidence that it's just going to be the best game out there. But at least, again, we know where it's coming from. So we'll have to see how this all goes. Again, they say there's no announcement, imminent. They're not going to announce anything right now. I would say we're probably not too far from getting an announcement of the future, considering, again, my biggest thing I would go back to is this has all been known for over a year and 3 months now. So Bandai Namco has had a year to basically shop it around and say, hey, we're looking for the next, why can't we make 2 Little Nightmares games basically at the same time? Somebody out there start the next game and get it going. You know what I mean? I feel like they've at least looked around. Whether or not whoever's making it now has started, I do think Bandai Namco probably has a list, or they have a studio they've isolated and figured out. They're like, okay, you guys are going to make the future of this franchise. I feel like we're already there. And so an announcement for the future, I don't feel like is 2, 3, 4 years off because they're scrambling. I think they probably have it under control. So let me know in the comments below, guys. What do you think? Do you have trust that they can do it well without the original makers? What do you think is going to happen in the future? Let me know. As always, make sure you guys are subscribed. Make sure you guys have the bell icon turned on so you know when all these videos go up. And if you guys want to subscribe to my second channel, I've talked about this game over there as well. Definitely make sure that you do. It's called Podcast Now Plus. I'll leave a link for it in the description below. Thank you all so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. I hope to see you all on the next one.